Okay, you guys, so this is the part two to the Jezebel manipulates and controls good men. Um, you know, so these people are relationship con artists. You know, it doesn't matter if it's the Jezebel spirit or the narcissist. They both play the same game. Right now, a lot of them know that people are waking up, and they also know that a lot of people are sleeping, that they don't want to believe it, that everything is transactional, that they're living in survival mode. They're living on, you're not my family. I wasn't born with you. You didn't bring me in this world. Hey, I have to compete with my own siblings. They're living on trying to be at the top of the food chain, the top of the hierarchy. Some can get there quicker because of how they look. Some have to work at it. And the ones who have to work at it are willing to do anything to get to it, because they know when you perceive them in a way that they're not. You perceive them to be good people. And they might even feel like, yeah, maybe once I was a good person. Maybe when I was a child, I was a good person. But something happened along the way. And guess what? You're trusting me because you're trusting me by my name, by my birth certificate, not my spirit. You're not making a clear judgment of who I am. So to them, it's like you're automatically prey. They feel like you shouldn't trust another animal, another human, because there's different types of animals in the wild. Some of them will even hurt you. And you're underestimating them. And when you underestimate these people, that's what makes them more angry more than ever. When you underestimate them, that's what makes the abuse, that's what makes them abuse you more, because they know the more I abuse you, the more I'm controlling you like a dog. So the reason I wanted to speak on this is because I had a man come up to me earlier out of nowhere, and for me, that's rare, for someone to just start pouring so much to me out of nowhere and I don't even know you. But he basically said, can I ask you a question as a woman? If you're in a relationship with someone and they leave you for someone else, but they won't stop calling you, they won't stop coming around, or when they say that they need help, they need money, and they're making it hard for me to move on, what do I do? What can I do? And nothing I do is enough for this person. So I'm like, okay, how old are they? Oh, 24. I'm like, no, they're definitely playing with you. So sometimes the Jezebel spirit will sit here and play a good man. They'll go and they're listening to these life coaches. Oh, get as many men as you can. The men that are really going to stick with you, they're going to stick around. If you need something, ask them for something right away. If they're not willing to give it to you, get rid of them. So the Jezebel spirit sticks around to get what she wants, and then a lot of times she, especially the younger Jezebels, she is making reckless choices that she doesn't know are going to backfire on her as well. So she might go and use the good guy who's stable, who has a job at least, and she's messing with a narcissist on the side who has nothing. What the narcissist is going to do is the narcissist is going to take advantage. The narcissist might even get that person pregnant. They're over there getting food, getting money out of other sources, out of good men, because they know you've never been in a serious relationship, or they know you're probably not going to get someone who looks better than them. There's different reasons why they target you. And not just that, sometimes you're just nice and they don't like it. And this is why a lot of men will even, go through these type of experiences and keep getting played until they can't get played, till they lose everything. And then, it's hard getting back on your feet, and you start thinking that all women are like this, not knowing that these type of con artists, these type of people, when they show you who they are, believe them. It's not just a disorder. This is them surviving, them wanting to use whoever they have to fund their lifestyle. Some of these people are materialistic. Some of these people just come from poor families. Some of these people come from dysfunctional families. And then they get with other dysfunctional people that they think they're smarter than, because they feel like they went through something that was able to mentally help them grow in order not to get played the next time. So they're taking it out on you. But then they still want to have their cake and eat it too. They're not stupid. This isn't just like a mental disorder that like people make it seem like, oh, they have the same characteristics and things like that. Yeah, they do. They do the same things. They do anything to manipulate. You're just dealing with a person that just manipulates. But they're not dumb, and they don't treat everyone like that. That's why when someone shows you who they are, believe them, because that's how they're going to treat you, no matter how much you change, no matter how much money you get, no matter how low you go. They're always going to treat you like that. It's like having a coworker who treats everyone nice, but they treat you like shit. Some people just look at you. They don't want to be your friend. They don't see, they might even feel like, why is this person keep coming around me? Can't they see the signs that I'm not really interested in them? And you're wondering, well, why are you hanging out with me? And they're bored. They're like, I'm bored. I'm just looking for supply. Bored. I'm always bored. I'm always willing to get new supply. Why wouldn't I? So we're living in times where now it's to the point where everyone knows this information, but a lot of people will still get played, still get conned, because they don't want to believe that someone is treating them bad. But guess what? The big bully doesn't like you, move on. And I mean that, you know. So I tell him, you know, is she asking you for stuff like money or anything? He's like, yeah, she keeps asking me for money, but she doesn't want to leave the other guy. And I'm like, yeah, you're wasting your time. You're wasting your money. It's never going to change. Once she views you a certain way, she's always going to view you that way, as a sucker. And she's not going to want you until she sees you get into a new relationship with someone else, or move on with your life and not showing her that you need her to abuse you, because you teach people how to treat you. You give yourself your own value. That's why the Jezebel gets with the narcissist, and the narcissist gets with the Jezebel, because they're both aware of each other, and that's a turn on to them. The only difference is that the narcissist, one of them has to be more evil than the other one, and one of them might even have a little ounce of empathy, thinking, oh, well, you know, I treat people the way I want to treat them depending on the person, but this person, I'm treating them a little bit more special than I normally would. The narcissist might be playing the same game, and they feel like, you know, I don't have no ounce of any connection to you, even if it doesn't matter the amount of sex. So they might leave the Jezebel pregnant and move on. And now the Jezebel pretends to be an empath. So now that she wants to run back to the good guy with the baby and everything sometimes, even while she's pregnant, because she knows you're a good person. That's how much of a good guy these guys really are. Not just how certain women are good. There's men who are really good like that will even take you back even though they know it's wrong. But it's something about you being feminine, the Jezebel spirit being feminine, that makes them weak. Something about her looks, something about the affection she gave. She made that person feel good. So while this guy is telling me, I'm telling him, you're telling a complete stranger your problems. That means that you're at a point where you can't control your emotions. And that means that you go around telling your friends and everyone your business. And then I'm like, you know, I'm a good person, but you might run across someone who might give you advice, and they're going to be like, oh shit, someone conned you. I'm going to con you too. I'm going to take, because someone already conned you. So who cares if I take the rest of what you have? You don't have a lot anyway, you know? So, and it could be small things, you know, a simple, the narcissist counts everything. They count every soda, every water you buy. They count everything. You can't be nice to these people. It's like feeding a dog on the street. They're leeches and they won't leave you alone. So I told this person this, you know, and that's what made me make this video about the Jezebel spirit, because I realized that it's just a big con. Men and women do this. You can't trust nobody out here. You can't trust a grandmother. You can't trust a kid. You can't trust no one. It's just a bunch of zombies. And you really have to just look out for yourself. And when you run across good people, you're going to feel their energy, because it's going to be, it's not just going to be, it's going to go both ways. You're not going to feel like they're sucking conversations out of you, sucking time, sucking, money out of you. It's gonna be not just, a friendship, but it's gonna be a mutual transaction, not something where they feel like they're feeding off of you, and that's really hard to find. That's why when the narcissist finds good people, they play with them, they hold on to them, and when things go to shit, they keep going back until one day they get older, or certain situations they can't get out of, and they have to deal with it themselves, and then they try to humble themselves just a little bit. But if they hit the right lick, if they hit the right type of supply, they'll do it again. Because to them, that's their meal ticket, that's their blessing. A lot of young people want to play these games with people while they're young, because they're not fully conscious, and they don't know that they're going to have to pay for that later. So she might be listening to women who are telling her how to take from men, but she ends up and thinking she ends up with a high value man, but this man has no morals, he's not a good person. And now she has to suffer the consequences of that. Just like the narcissist ends up with a Jezebel spirit, and then they start looking back on all the good relationships they had, but they still want to put the blame on the people they've hurt. They're always watching their back. They're always consistently still blaming you, even though you were a good person to them. Every narcissist that I ever run across, some of them even kind of get me. Some of them, they have such a good charm where they seem really empathetic, where you really get fooled right away. And then you start to really reflect on different things that they've said different times, and you realize it doesn't even add up. They tell you they lived with their daughter. Then you find out that they have an apartment or a condo that they paid off. Then you find out that they have a newer supply, but they're still talking about the old supply, because the old supply has a good job now, and now they're like, oh, my ex is a doctor, my ex is a lawyer, but I'm looking for a new supply. I'm looking for a young Jezebel spirit who is looking for a sugar daddy, because she thinks I'm going to take care of her, but she doesn't know I'm going to suck the life out of her while she's sitting here playing someone her age. You see how fucked up that is? But people get what goes around comes around, So don't trust people, you guys, men or women, the elderly, the young, always give people, it's all about respect. As long as people are respecting you, if people disrespect you, you have to figure out if you're going to feed into that energy or not, because it's energy they're taking from you. If you know that you can live with the words that they said, you could live with them calling you a name. I could live with that, because I'm not as friendly as people think. I'm very respectful, but I never overshare, and people will make jokes with me to overshare, and they know I'm not going for it, and eventually, because they know my character, they'll say something disrespectful, because they're like, oh, you're not giving me energy, or I'm not seeing you disrespect anyone, I'm not seeing you suck energy out of others. So now I'm going to say something to piss you off. I'm going to do something to cross a boundary just to see how you're going to respond to it. And if you respond to it, in a way where you're telling them, hey, don't cross my boundaries, they're going to try to cross your boundaries again to get a response, to get energy out of you. And that's when you have to know not to feed into these people any energy, because that's what gives them that little smile, that little smirk, because in their mind it's, I was trying to con you, but you're mean, you're too hard to crack, I had a guy that called me a bully. They're like, oh, you're a big bully. And I'm like, no, he said, you're a bully. And I said, a big one, because I didn't do anything to disrespect him. It was him asking me personal questions. So these people force themselves on you, and then they disrespect you, or they tell you, play with you. Hey, can you buy me this? And they're just playing with you. Don't play with me like that. I don't even know you, So they ask you for things right away. You know, you go to the mechanic shop, they're asking you for things right away. Hey, you know, they're telling you your car has a different problem than what it really has. And they're like, oh, you know, it's important you fix your brakes right now. Something could happen. And you don't even go and get a second opinion. You get it done and they played you quick and you leave thinking